Today you join me in my new vehicle. At last I own a Citroen XM. I've waited a long time to get an XM. Has that wait been worth it? I'd say so. The thing that really impresses about the XM is the fact that it feels small and nimble. It turns into bends like you wouldn't believe. And the hydroactive suspension, it doesn't kill body roll, but it certainly reduces it to a level that's quite extraordinary. You find yourself going around bends far quicker than you expected to. The only problem is you really do have to remember that it is still a big car. This one has the 2.1 litre turbo diesel engine, and it's a great engine. Pulls really well from low down and has a nice bit of a kick to it. It attracted flack at the time for not really being powerful enough. It's 110 brake horsepower and this is quite a big car. For me personally, I find there's plenty of performance. But of course it's also comfortable. That's what Citroen Magic is all about. Great handling, but also very comfortable. I suspect the spheres on this one are a little bit flat, but I only paid 375 quid for the car and I can't really complain, so I won't. The hydroactive system works by detecting when you're getting a hoon on, like that, and it actually cuts out some centre spheres which make the suspension nice and soft most of the time, and that makes it firmer for the corners, so it can be comfortable but doesn't wallow about. I felt I really did have to get an XM right now because values are starting to climb. For many years you could pick up a cheap XM quite easily. The problem is they're not necessarily very cheap to run. It's not a great budget car. Despite that, I'm trying to run this one on a very tight budget, so we'll see how that plan goes. But it just makes me so happy to drive. It sort of behaves exactly how I want the car to behave. As we said, the interior is a bit drab. I mean, there's no wood, it's just a sea of plastic. It's all a bit ordinary, there's nothing wacky about it at all. Compared with the CX, which was at the bonkers and so. But I don't mind that. It's nice and wacky on the outside. I love the Bertone style, I always have done. And of course, you've got that suspension and steering, so it's always got that quirk factor. Has to be said, when I announced to the world I wanted an XM for a tiny budget, everyone told me to run a mile. It is true, I'm going to have to spend some money on this car. One of the strut tops looks a bit iffy, the ride isn't perfect, so perhaps the spheres need a regas, and it needs a bit of welding on one of the sills. I'm quite happy to accept all that, because it's such a good car to drive. The handbrake's a pain, because it's a 4-pedal setup, so I have to push the pedal down, and then push this little lock lever down on the right hand side. And then when you pull away, you have to pull that, which pings the pedal back up and makes the most unsatisfying clunking noise. It's not a perfect car. It's a shame, I'd rather have a handbrake than an armrest that's too low to be any use anyway. So here we go, into first, pull the handbrake lever, bang, and there we go. I'm going to have to pull the lever up a bit more because the stop light won't go out. So that works well then. Still, it's a bit of an electronic handbrake, but then so is almost anything. Sadly, the XM wasn't a huge success. Early ones were plagued with electrical issues that tainted the car for the entirety of its production line. Only 333,000 were built, which is absolute peanuts for a modern manufacturer. Despite this, they thought they'd have another go with the C6, which only sold 27,000. The brakes are as you would expect. The pedal is very hard, it doesn't seem to move. At first it doesn't seem to do anything, and then suddenly it does everything. That's Citroen's for you. Let's try them out. Yep, pretty good. There you have it, the Citroen XM. I'm glad I bought one at last. See you next time.